Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Reata Horsemanship. I'm Luke Brown. I'm very excited to be with you here today on this wet morning on Training Tip Tuesday. And I was actually taking a break here next to this fence because I had something to talk about on Training Tip Tuesday about this fence. Now, this horse here, you've seen her a couple times before, and this is Pete. And Pete is a mare. She's a little bit older mare that came to me with some struggles with anxiety, and I've just been working with her for a little over 2 weeks now. She's going to be finished the end of this week. But what I wanted to talk about today is, as you can see, she still doesn't want to stand quite still, and so we'll keep working on this. But I wanted to talk about bending through your turns when you're getting a horse to relax to something that they don't necessarily like or that they're nervous about. If you see this fence right here, this fence, and then up in front of me is a metal fence. It's sheet metal, and it's kind of a scary object for her. She didn't like walking next to it. She kept spooking a little bit. If any kind of dirt or rock chipped up and touched it, she would spook a little. And so I just started moving her feet, and I've been doing this all the way through Fear Alley behind me this morning for probably 40 minutes or so. Now, one thing to remember is that when it's wet, usually horses are more spooky when it's cold and wet like this. So after it's rained, the water causes them to be more spooky. There's the shininess of the water and the dark areas that weren't dark yesterday or before the rain, and now they're all dark. That scares horses more. So keep that in mind when you're riding after the rain or in the rain. And for Training Tip Tuesday, the main point I want to make is when you're making your turns, when you're going back and forth. So along this fence here, if I'm going back and forth along this fence, right to left, like I teach to help a horse relax to that object, I want to make sure that I use the inside rein and inside leg to bend through that turn. I do an exercise called forward bend at the walk and the trot. She's trying to walk off again. So I do a forward bend at the walk and the trot in the arena before I get out here, because I want to make sure that the horse understands how to do that forward bend. Basically, a horse needs to relax, be able to relax to the forward bend. And I'm actually, while I'm talking here, since she doesn't want to stand still, I'm going to move her front to back, or I'm going to move her right to left with just one hand. So I'm not really doing what I'm talking about right now. I'm making the motion, so I'm going right to left. So I'll take her down the line wherever she's nervous, and then I'll bend her through that turn, and then take her down the line, and then I'll bend her through that turn. Now, you want to use two reins. You want to make sure when you're helping a horse relax to this kind of stuff that you have a bit that's appropriate for this, and I would say a snaffle bit, no ring snaffle bit. An egg butt snaffle bit or a D-ring snaffle bit, those are all pretty good. Even a full cheek snaffle will work for this, but you want to just have that one pressure point in the mouth so that you can bend your horse left or right when you're making the turn. And then you want your horse to walk through the turn, not yield the forequarters through the turn. And let me try to explain what that means. When you're yielding the forequarters, the horse is stepping across, and it's more of a side motion than a forward motion. But when I'm asking her to bend through the turn and relax to these turns, I'm asking her to bend and walk forward as she goes through that turn, not to yield her forequarters through that turn. You'll notice that when a horse is nervous about an object or an area, as you make the turn, they're going to jump across with their forequarters. They're going to yield their forequarters really quickly to get through that uncomfortable situation that they're in right there. So that's why you keep moving them through that. Now you can go right to left and keep bending them through this turn until they finally relax. Sometimes I'll take them through the turn, and I'll keep in the same turn like I'm doing right now. I'll just keep, like if I bent to the right and she was real stiff, I'm going to keep bending to the right using my right rein and my right leg pressure to get her to bend and walk forward. And once she bends and walks forward through that turn, like right there, she did a nice bend and walk forward, I'm going to let her out of it and walk her through. But as a general rule, you're going to face the object that you're trying to help your horse desensitize to in these turns. But you can also keep that turn going. Like if she jumped across with her forequarters right there to the left, I might keep that turn going until she finally relaxed in a nice big circle or a nice small circle and walked through and past the fence that she was nervous about. Once she is bent, relaxed, and walks through and past the fence, then I've got her where I want her to be, and then I'm going to yield I'm going to bend through the turn again and keep doing it. So this is how you take a horse that's spooked to this kind of object and you help them relax to the object. And remember that forward bend. A forward bend is vitally important. You want to, Warwick Schiller calls it bending to relax. Well, and that's for a stop, but the same concept is there, that if a horse can bend, a horse is more relaxed. If they're bent from their poll, basically from their nose all the way through their hips in that turn, then they're relaxed. If they remain straight, they're not relaxed. So help them bend through that turn. I hope that helped you guys for Training Tip Tuesday. Until next time, be thankful, live with purpose, live with passion, and as always, stay safe in the saddle.